Hi guys, it's Zhang from Moolahwise.com, and in today's video I wanted to share with you guys a simple formula to build wealth over time. Like the old adage that money doesn't grow on trees, additionally, if you want to build wealth, there's a simple formula that you must follow to build wealth consistently and slowly over time. So let's get into it. So this is a simplified formula that I was taught a while ago, and I wanted to share it here with you guys. The wealth formula goes like this. Okay, money plus time plus or minus a rate of return minus inflation minus taxes will give you wealth. And I'll explain each part of the formula in depth throughout this video. First, let's talk about the first part of the formula, which is money. We all have heard the old adage that it takes money to make money, and in our case for savings, it is no different. When I say it takes money, what I mean is that the investment must come before the return, meaning whatever vehicle you plan on saving money in, then you must start as soon as possible, because what I've learned when it comes to saving is the sooner you start saving, the less you'll have to save and the more you'll have over time. The rule of money is simple: to have more, either spend less, make more, or save more. A few good rules to follow around saving money is to pay yourself first. Treat your quote-unquote saving bill as the bill you pay first, because your financial future is more important than any other necessity that you can be spending on currently. Don't you agree? The second rule is to only buy what you need. Learn the difference between something that you absolutely need versus something that you want. When I buy something new, I always ask myself, do I really need this? Then my second question to myself is, how often will I use this? That question will help me determine my cost per use. This is how much it will cost me to use this new item. Meaning, the more I use something, the more the cost will go down. So for instance, if I'm debating if I should buy a new pair of shoes, and the new pair of shoes will cost $200, but I'll wear the shoe every day to work, then how much will my cost per use be? So let's do some math. So I take $200 and then divide it by 20, which will give me $10 per use per month, right? And then ask yourself, is the $10 per month worth it for you to own these new shoes if you wear every day to work? I know these rules won't stop all of your unnecessary purchases, but it will slow your purchasing urges down. As you can see, the more you use the item, the cheaper the cost per use will be. Spending is a habit, and so is saving. What if you could make a small change to your spending habit where you could save $10 per day, which will equate to $300 per month. And if you put that $300 in an account that earns you 8% consistently, in 30 years you'll have about $447,000. Now, if you could be more disciplined and could save $20 per day, that would equate to $600 per month. And if you put that $600 in an account that earns you 8% consistently, you will have around $894,000 in 30 years. So imagine having an extra $894,000 in retirement to play with, to travel, and if possible, and it is all possible if you could just save $20 per day. But you're probably thinking that you're already living on such a tight budget that there's no way you could find $300 a month to save. Let's see how you could find an extra $300 a month. Maybe you could pack your own coffee and your own lunch every day. So let's say you decided to take me up on my challenge and pack your own coffee and bring your own lunch every day. Will that help me find $300 in my monthly budget? Let's look at some numbers and see how much bringing your own coffee and your own lunch can save you every month. So let's say you spend $3.50 at Starbucks every day for a cup of coffee. In 1 month, you would save $70 a month, assuming a 20 working days in a month, and you're only getting 1 coffee per day, or $840 per year. And keep in mind that I'm only using a conservative amount of $3.50 for a cup of coffee per day, and I'm only assuming 20 working days per month. But if you get multiple cup of coffee per day, every day, and you're working more than 20 working days per month, then that amount that you can be saving can be much more. Additionally, if you spend more for each cup of coffee, then the amount that you can save is also much more. This is only 1 cup of coffee per day. Now, let's talk about how much we can spend on lunches. Let's say you spend $10 a day for lunch in 20 working days in a month. Then you'll be spending $200 per month, or $2,400 per year. Keep in mind that it's only spending $10 per day. But if you're spending more per lunches, then obviously you could save much more money if you pack your own lunch. So let's total it up. If you bring your own coffee and lunch, you could save about $300 a month. So let's sum it all up. If you bring your own coffee and lunch, you could save around $300 per month, or $270. But so I took $70 from the coffee, and then $200 for your lunch habit, and then added together, it will give you around $270 per month. And we all should be able to save that amount per month for our financial future. Shouldn't you agree? The second part of the wealth formula is time. In time portion of the formula, we'll be discussing 2 concepts that relate to time value on our money. The first concept is to start saving earlier. The second concept when it comes to time and money is the rule of 72. Below, I'll explain each concept a little bit more in depth. We believe that one should get wealthy over time, so the time value on our money is an important part of the wealth formula. Time is money. The sooner you save, the better for your future. Procrastination is the enemy of savings. When people are younger, they tend to think that they have plenty of time to quote-unquote start saving for retirement. Let's illustrate this with 2 examples. Meet Mr. Start Saving Now and Mr. I'm still young so I can save for retirement later. Mr. Start Saving Now saves $3,600 per year for only 7 years in an 8% tax deferred account, while Mr. I'm still young so I can save for retirement later starts saving $3,600 per year for 17 years in an 8% tax deferred account, starting 7 years after Mr. Start Saving Now. Who do you think will have more money at the end? As you can see, that Mr. Start Saving Now will start saving $3,600 per year for 7 years, totaling a contribution of $25,200. Even if he stops saving at year number 8, he will still have about $128,000 in 24 years. While his Mr. Counterpart, I'm still young so I can save for retirement later, saves the same amount per year as Mr. Start Saving Now. And in fact, he'll be contributing much more and much longer than Mr. Start Saving Now to end up with the same amount of money. As you can see, Mr. I'm still young so I can save for retirement later, his total contribution is $61,200 to end up with $131,221, about the same amount as Mr. Start Saving Now. So as you can see, Mr. I'm still young so I can save for retirement later, his total contribution is $61,200 to end up with $131,221, about the same as Mr. Start Saving Now. So what is the moral of the story? Start saving as soon as possible, because you'll have more and paid less than someone that started after you. Keep in mind that this is only a hypothetical example to illustrate how important saving sooner can affect your financial future. The next portion of the wealth formula is what we call the rates of return. As you will notice that in the wealth formula, it is a plus or a minus. And for a rate of return. How can that be? I thought rates of return was supposed to grow my money and not minus my money, right? Yes, the rates of return is positive only if where the money you are saving is growing consistently. Think cash value life insurance. While if your money is in a variable account, your rates of return can be positive or negative. Think stocks, mutual funds, or cryptocurrency. In this portion of the formula, use the rule of 72 to calculate how long it will take you to double your money. Below is an example of what it will take you to double your money given any rate of return. Keep in mind that the following regarding rule of 72. The rates of return must be consistent for the rule to work, meaning if one year you get positive 10% and then the next year you get negative 5% rate of return, then the rule of 72 won't be applicable. And also the rule of 72 is to calculate the compound interest. If you're getting a simple interest, then the rule of 72 won't work either. Another thing to remember is that the rule of 72 can work against you too. Think credit cards and inflation, because those things compound against your wealth too. Watch other video about the rule of 72 for a more in-depth explanation of this concept. So, what is the moral of this story? You are either paying interest or you're collecting interest. So be sure that you are collecting the interest and not paying for it. The next concept I want to talk about regarding rates of return is what is the real rate of return. When you save or invest, it is important to have a good rate of return, but understand what is the real rate of return is more important than the actual rate of return. When I say real rate of returns, what I'm talking about is what you will have after subtracting the fees, inflation, and taxes. Below are two simplified examples of the real rates of returns and how it can affect your savings. As you can see in example 1, if you saved $100 and gained 3% interest and have to pay a tax of 25%, then you really only have $102.25 after taxes. All right? And if you subtract inflation off, then you're really only left with $98.75. In example 2, if you saved $100 and gained 5% and have to pay a tax of 25%, you'll have $103.75. And after subtracting inflation at 3.5%, and after subtracting inflation at 3.5%, then you're left with $125. So what is the point? The point is that your money has to earn at least 5% to outpace the inflation and taxes. Would you rather get a higher rate of return but have to pay taxes on it, or would you rather have a slightly lower rate of return but to keep more of it? Keep in mind that this is only a simplified illustration of what is the real rate of return, assuming a 25% tax rate and a inflation 3.5% inflation rate. The next portion of the wealth formula is what we call inflation, also known as the silent tax. Inflation is the rise in prices of goods and services over time. Said differently, it means the buying power on your money goes down over time. Usually inflation is around 3%. So for instance, if you had $100 today and the inflation was hovering around 3%, then a year from today you would still have your $100, but the buying power of that $100 is more like $97. However, during the last couple of years, the government printed all this money for stimulus checks for COVID. Then the inflation can be much higher. Right now, the inflation is around, say, 9%. Below is an image of how inflation eats away of your money. Here's an image I found on Google on how much inflation eats away at your money. So in 1988, $20 would have bought you a full shopping cart full of groceries. In 2005, the same $20 would have bought you 3/4 full, right? And in 2013, that same $20 would have bought you basically 1/4 of the grocery shown in 1988. So be careful about, make sure wherever you put your money that it is outpacing inflation. The final portion of the wealth formula is taxes. Do you think the taxes will be lower, the same, or higher in retirement? When you make money, they tax you. When you buy something, they tax you. When you die, they will tax you. So how do we neutralize all our taxes? We neutralize the tax liability by putting our money in more tax-efficient accounts. So I'm just going to remind everyone what the 3 buckets of taxes are, and you can watch my other video for a more in-depth explanation of the 3 buckets of taxes explained. So I just want to kind of remind everyone what those were again. So the first bucket is what we call the tax now, and these are some of the most popular accounts in the tax now bucket. And then next we have is a tax later, and these are some of the most popular accounts in the tax later accounts. Or buckets, I should say. And then the last bucket is called the tax advantage, or also known as tax-free, tax never accounts. And these are some of the most popular accounts in those buckets. And I'm not going to go into much in depth about it. You can just watch my other video about the 3 buckets of taxes explained, where I go more in depth. The last thing I want to share with you is the historical tax rate of the USA. From the year 1913 to 2015. As you can see, in the year 1944, the federal income tax rates were about 94%. So imagine making $1 million in 1944 and only being able to keep 60,000 out of 1 million. So what's the point of showing you this? That the tax rate can go up at any time, and if it does go up, then it brings up all the other tax brackets and not just the top brackets. Additionally, since historically it has been at those rates, what is stopping Uncle Sam from making the taxes that high again in the future? So in conclusion, what did we learn in today's video? I'm re-showing the wealth formula just to reiterate the wealth formula again. We have to start with money, then add in how much time we have to grow that money, then add or subtract rates of return, then subtract inflation, then taxes, which will give us wealth. We learned that we must be earning at least 5% on our money to neutralize the taxes and inflation on our money. Let me ask you, are you earning at least 5% net on your money currently? Understand that you could build a successful financial future if you have a plan and work that plan. It is our responsibility to be wise with our money, because if we aren't, then no one else will be looking out for our money. We have a mission of educating 1 million families on how money works, and we can't get there without your help. You can help us achieve that goal by liking our content on our YouTube channel, because it will help with the algorithm. If you have any questions about money, please reach out to me at 415-385-9116 or email me at info@moolahwise.com. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.